You know what's really interesting is one of the big segments of our vote yesterday were people who had not voted in any election for 20 or 30 years that felt re-engaged by the UKIP message saying these people speak for me and actually going back to the polling station, and that is a long way from being a protest vote.
And what about people saying, well, you say they speak for you, but it's just a one-issue party. What would you say to them?
Well, look at what we campaigned on. You know, we campaigned, yes, of course, on not being part of political union with Europe and seeing the impotence of the government yesterday after the decision about bankers' bonuses. That rather proved the point. But the big issue here in Eastleigh was jobs and growth and the effect that uncontrolled open-door immigration to Eastern Europe is having on the lives of ordinary families. And the thought that from January next year we're going to open the doors to Romania and Bulgaria, open access to another 29 million people, makes people say enough's enough. That's hardly a single-issue party.
I'm interested as well what you think the fact that David Cameron has, of course, offered now an in-out referendum, which will take place before any general election, and also talking tough on immigration as well. So what do you think? Will that undermine you?
No, I'm sorry. Mr Cameron has not said he'll have a referendum before the general election. If he'd done that, I would personally have cheered him to the rooftops.
Yeah.
What he said is, if I win the election, following a renegotiation, in 5 years' time, I'll give you a vote. This is the same man who in 2007 said, I give you this cast-iron guarantee that if I become Prime Minister, there'll be a referendum on the Lisbon Treaty. I don't believe David Cameron, and quite honestly, few of the electorate do either. And the tough talk on immigration, frankly, it's all a deception. It's con man Cameron. If we're part of the European Union, we cannot stop unrestricted open access to Britain from Eastern Europe.
I'm interested as well, because you could have stood in that election. Why did you choose not to in the by-election?
Because my ambition is to lead UKIP into the European elections next year, in June next year, as a candidate, which I could not have done if I'd won a seat in the House of Commons, and I believe in those elections next year we can cause an earthquake in British politics.
And tell us as well, lots of people obviously turning out to vote for you. Interesting as well in Eastleigh that migration there is not one of their biggest problems, is it?
Do you know, when we opened the doors to Poland and the others in 2004, the government said up to 15,000 a year would come into this country. There are more than that in Southampton alone. Young people, school leavers, looking to get jobs, find there is a massive oversupply of labour in the marketplace. It's making things difficult for them. And there is in Eastleigh an absolutely chronic undersupply of social housing. So these things are impacting on ordinary families. And I just don't think that our wealthy Westminster political class really understand these things.
Also, I mean, many people will want to know, you know, people have voted for you in this election. They'll want to know the thing that matters to them, and you mention it, is their pockets, isn't it? What is going on with the economy? Can UKIP offer realistic policies on that? What do you think about austerity? What would you do?
Well, I think the first thing we can do is to say, please stop wasting £50 million a day that we give to the European Union, £25 million a day we're giving away in foreign aid. That would be a very good start, at least, to sorting out our finances. And what the British economy needs more than anything, it needs growth. And in a town like this, with lots and lots of sole traders and small businesses, they need an easing of the restrictions because they're very worried about taking on new staff. The employment laws are stopping youngsters from getting a chance to get, a proper job and a proper start in life. So we can help businesses to help ordinary people, and that will at least help to stimulate some growth.
And Nigel, I know we've talked to you about this before, about people saying that there could be a possible deal between UKIP and the Conservatives. What would you say about that now?
Do you know, yesterday, on the last day of the campaign, the Conservative Party here put out leaflets in the UKIP colours. They are dishonest, deceitful, and everything Cameron has said about immigration this week says to me this is not a party under his leadership that I could ever trust.